Problems this afternoon, mostly dry and fine, plenty of sunshine, temperatures in the low 20s. Plenty of fine weather back home as well, especially...
More top stars compete in the snooker competition from 3:10. Fast, the 12th race of the season, with Mika Häkkinen in pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix.
Oh, and that is a very big one indeed. It's Jacques Villeneuve. Oh, that's a terrible crash. And it's Zonta in the other VAR.
Spa equals racing on the edge. The drivers love the challenge, including the teammates who survived those scary smashes. Villeneuve running back to work. Zonta signing autographs with a steady hand. Remember last year we saw just about the biggest Grand Prix multiple shunt ever. 13 cars eliminated. And Michael Schumacher hitting David Coulthard, losing his wheel, and the race.
Hello there, welcome to Spa. This circuit bites. The British-American racing team have been working through the night to get Jacques Villeneuve and Ricardo Zonta on the grid. Both came through warm-up successfully this morning and both will start the race. The bill for the damage, by the way, a cool $1 million. Those crashes at Eau Rouge were very much the talk of qualifying, but at the sharp end, it was business as usual. Here's Louise Goodman.
There's always a sense of anticipation at Spa, but it started out pretty much like any normal session. 22 cars vying for grid spots and one McLaren showing them the way.
This is a monumental lap of Mika Häkkinen's, and yes, 0.3 of a second faster than David Coulthard, 0.7 of a second, nearly 8, faster than Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
The Finns started all bar 2 races from the front, and even David Coulthard knew it would be a tough time to beat. But that wasn't going to stop Jacques Villeneuve from trying.
Oh, and that is a very big one indeed. It's Jacques Villeneuve.
It was a case of deja vu, a repeat of the 98 shunt Villeneuve described with nonchalant bravado as his best ever.
It's pretty close to last year. I think the impact was smaller, but I rolled, so that was a bonus.
What happened? Were you trying to take it flat again?
Yeah, I was flat until I spun. The only problem is I touched the curb on the inside with the front of the car, and that just pulled the front in.
Villeneuve was as unfazed as he sounded. Just a few words of reassurance from team boss Craig Pollock, and Jacques was ready for more action. But moments later, Eau Rouge claimed another victim.
Oh, that's a terrible crash. And it's Zonta in the other VAR. Well, this is quite appalling.
Pollock looked on in disbelief as his second driver emerged unscathed and calm from the shattered remains of his VAR.
Zonta's actually giving autographs down there.
It's strange because I didn't push that much. I pushed in the first lap, in my qualifying lap, and I lost the car in the middle. Maybe it was a little bit dirty or something like this from the Jacques accident. What was the problem is difficult because it was too fast. And also on TV, it's difficult to see if he's broke something or not. But it's too fast, to see if it was my mistake or not.
Two massive shunts like that within the space of 10 minutes. Were the two related?
They were both related, yes, because we believed they were both driver errors, meaning that the drivers were just going too fast for that particular corner. That's what they're paid to do. They're paid to take the risks and push the car to the limit, and sometimes they go over the limit. It's just what is related is it was both basically the same thing, we think.
But you have had some mechanical failures with the cars this weekend. You're quite confident that this was nothing to do with that?
I'm absolutely confident it had nothing to do with that at all.
So what's the game plan now?
Within 2 minutes of Ricciardo going off, we'd already called the factory and we saw Ricciardo was okay, and we deviated the truck that was going to Monza with 2 cars in it for a test next week, and we'll have 2 extra cars at the circuit this evening by midnight. They'll have to be totally stripped down, rebuilt overnight. So it's a massive job tonight.
Out on the track, that pole was still up for grabs, and McLaren's David Coulthard put in a quick lap to knock his teammate off the top spot.
And he's there.
Normal service was soon resumed, though, as Hakkinen claimed his 10th pole of the season.
It's good to be in pole again, and I think what is important here is the difference for Eddie at the moment is 1.5 seconds, so it definitely makes my life easier.
I was surprised just about how big the gap is. It was the same deal as last year, where we looked like we were being pushed hard by Ferrari, and then all of a sudden we had a big advantage in qualifying. But that's only one part of it. Spa can give us all sorts of funny weather, so we have to keep focused.
Right behind McLaren, the 2 Jordans were battling it out, as Frentzen looked to knock his teammate off 3rd spot.
Yes, he's done it. He's moved ahead of Damon Hill.
Damon had one last chance to repeat his 98 qualifying performance, but it needed a tidy lap.
Dropped the back under braking, and on the downshift cost himself a lot of time on the way into the bus stop, so I think that blew it for Damon. He'll start 4th.
But Hill was still happy.
When you really have a good go, you have a good thrash out there, then you feel better in yourself as well. So it's really a good feeling, and I came very close to Heinz, so maybe I'm getting faster, I don't know.
But the Ferrari seemed to be getting slower. Irvine never looked like threatening the order in qualifying, and admits it will take something special to up the ante in the race.
I think I could have probably been 2-3 tenths quicker, but still that's not good enough, we're just not there. On fast circuits, we're just not there. We need to look at this and see what the problem is.
Hakkinen's got his eye on that championship. A good result will see him take the lead, and it will be that bit easier from pole. David Coulthard starts alongside. And how those Jordans love Spa. 3rd and 4th is the team's best grid spot since the '94 Belgian race. Ralf Schumacher's 5th, that's his best of the season. Bad news for Eddie Irvine in 6th. Barrichello's Stewart starts from 7th, and Zanardi's 8th is a career best. Sarlo's 9th rounded off a bad day for Ferrari. Johnny Herbert's 10th. Villeneuve took 11th in the spare BAR, and Trudy's Prost's next. Unlucky 13th for Fisichella, and Ricciardo's on to claim 14th before that massive shunt. Row 8 sees Wirtz's Benetton lining up alongside Alesi's Sauber, and it's Panis and the 2nd Sauber on row 9. Takagi's 19th ahead of the 2 Minardis, and Pedro de la Rosa is the tail-end Charlie.
Thank you, Louise. Welcome to the ITV studio. None of that funny weather that David Coulthard was talking about. Absolutely beautiful at the moment. That's unusual for this place. Delighted to say that joining Tony Jardine in the studio, Eddie Jordan. Hi, Eddie.
Nice to be here.
Listen, all those crashes we've seen there, is this place still safe to race?
Oh yeah, it's a very different circuit here at Spa. One must realise that it's a road circuit 360 days a year. So there are complications. The particular corner where these 2 accidents occurred is Eau Rouge. It's world renowned for this type of incident. But you have a huge download of G-force on the head of the driver, almost 5G, we reckon, through the telemetry. And that's very unusual. And what happens is the car suffers all sorts of different routes. You can either go soft suspension and raise the ride height, or actually harden the route. There's lots of different combinations. But I'm not sure if I would altogether agree with Craig. I think the car, perhaps both of them seem to be in the middle of there seems to be complication. I don't want to talk about someone else's, but it is a very daunting circuit.
Right, okay, Eddie, thank you for the moment. Just looking back to last year, the Belgian Grand Prix really had it all. That spectacular crash, didn't it? And Coulthard and Michael Schumacher having a real war of words, and then a very happy ending indeed. For you, Eddie, quite simply, the greatest day in your team's history.
Yes, yes, it's go. And Coulthard drags. Hakkinen gets away well. Look at Eddie Irvine coming up on the inside. Villeneuve goes up into second position. Schumacher is down into about sixth position. Bad start by the Ferrari. Great start by Eddie Irvine. Villeneuve, look at Villeneuve, and into the wall. Who was that?
Coulthard in the wall.
David Coulthard into the wall will stop the race.
They'll have to red flag
this.
this.
Terrible. Look, oh, this is quite appalling. This is the worst start for a Grand Prix that I have ever seen in the whole of my life. Go, 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 go. Hakkinen leads away again. Irvine again comes up the left. Damon Hill has made an excellent start and leads. Damon Hill gets ahead of everybody at last source. Schumacher going round the outside.
Oh, it's Hakkinen's spot.
Spinning Hakkinen. Schumacher hit Hakkinen. And Herbert has hit Hakkinen.
Here's a good chance. We've got a much better run out of Blanchimont up the inside into the bus stop. He has track position, squeezes Damon over a little bit. Michael Schumacher, a textbook overtaking opportunity.
It's Villeneuve. Villeneuve going off. Indeed it is. Oh God! Michael Schumacher hits David Coulthard and is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. Maybe he should have been a bit more circumspect about trying to pass him, but he is out, and Damon Hill is in the lead. Oh, Fisichella. Damon Hill wins in Belgium. Fantastic. Schumacher second, and Lacey third. Wow, what an unbelievable race.
Still very emotional pictures for you, those, Eddie, your first Grand Prix win, and Spa's been good to you over the years, hasn't it?
Oh, Spa's been like a dream to Jordan. Way back, Johnny Herbert won his first Formula 3 championship here with us in '87, and 2 years later we did the same in Formula 3000 with Jean Alesi. Michael Schumacher in '91, in fact, had his first ever drive with Jordan. Rubens Barrichello had his first ever pole with Jordan here in '94. Then last year, it's a bit of a dream ticket.
How about today? You're very well placed again.
I'm not going to make any
You never do.
slightest thing, but I would like to be back here after the race, celebrating, I suppose.
Yes. There was a little bit of the hard stuff around here last year, I seem to remember.
all those cans of Guinness.
A lot of cans of certain black
Cans of
stuff.
something.
We won't talk about them. But yeah, that was a very special race. It was also the very big change for Jordan. If you like, it was the turning point. It brought us, it so-called made us men out of boys. We were there or thereabouts, but since then we've scored on average 4 points every race since then. We've followed that up with a win this year with Frentzen at Magny-Cours, and we'd really love to win here if it was possible today.
It's like a home game for you, this, almost, isn't it? It's fantastic support for you around the circuit.
Yeah, well, it's something, all the members of the factory come here. We have about 4,000 Jordan fans from Ireland, which are the Jordan Fan Club. There's a huge, I believe Belgium or Brussels last night was awash. There wasn't a dry pint a house in any of the pubs in Brussels. But that's part of the folklore. You know, Jordan attracts that kind of people, and it's great, fantastic.
Let's talk a bit about the man who's going to replace Damon Hill at the end of the season, Jarno Trulli. Tony, first of all, your thoughts on Jarno Trulli?
Sensational talent, but I really believe he's got to be nurtured by Eddie's team. He spotted the talent, but I mean, he's very Senna-like, not just in his looks, but in his style. Very short amount of time, karting to Formula 3 and straight into Formula 1. He's known to throw his toys out the pram every now and again, known to throw a few tantrums and wobblies. Apparently when he's on the radio, that's the only time he keeps his hands still. He's a bit of a windmill, that's the wheel go. So you better sort him out, Ed.
Go on, Ed.
I'll have to bring you on as a lecturer from you, perhaps, Tony. But I've been following this guy. This is actually just everything dovetails straight into a box. I've been extremely fortunate on this particular signing because he was contracted with other people. It was also involved with Prost. He had to be outside the top 6 by the last race, so I had to wait. The contract was already agreed and signed, but the kick-in wouldn't happen till after Hungary. So we were all on tenterhooks for a while, and I'm overjoyed. I think what I like more especially is he's an extremely confident driver. He has a great ability to instill the confidence that you know that he's going to perform. And having been a world champion in karting, he has every ingredient that I believe is necessary to be a champion.
Okay, Ed, thanks very much. The sound of engines behind us tells us it's just under half an hour to go to the off. You've got to go and get your working clothes on, I know. We'll keep the seat warm for you.
I wanted to keep this for me, especially just today.
Appreciate your presence here anyway. Thanks very much indeed. Okay, let's drive you around this Spa circuit, shall we? 4.3 miles. It's the longest circuit on the calendar, in fact. That Eau Rouge corner, pretty frightening as we've seen, but the drivers say it is the best on the F1 circuit. I can tell you there is no such thing as a small accident around here. Here's Martin Brundle, and it's Mika Hakkinen at the wheel of the 98 McLaren.
Okay, on the edge of your seat for a lap of the fantastic Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium with Mika Hakkinen down to second gear, 40 miles an hour, the slowest corner on the circuit, La Source hairpin. Walk the car to the barrier, now accelerate down the hill up to 185 miles an hour for Eau Rouge. There's the corner ahead of you, listen to the throttle, just blending gently out through the middle, leap across the curb on the exit, and you're still doing 175 miles an hour. Uphill now, the engine working overtime. Look at the red lights on the dashboard. He's very near maximum revs in top gear, braking hard for Lecombe. Third gear, 85 miles an hour. Left and then the right, 105 miles an hour before heading slightly downhill into the Rivage hairpin. 170 miles an hour, brake hard now, downhill, down to 70. Second gear, be patient here. Now you can ride up the hill a little bit, get on the power and sweep through the left-hander, heading downhill towards Pouhon. You're going to get up to top gear again, 185 miles an hour, but don't brake too hard. Just down to 145 now, and then look for the curb on the outside. There's enough space, back on the throttle pedal, up to 190 miles an hour, top gear, brake desperately late in your Fagnes chicane. 105 miles an hour on the way through, third gear. A big correction there from Hakkinen, now a really tricky little right-hander, 95 miles an hour, very easy to run wider, bumpy curb on the exit, Stavelot, 150 miles an hour, full throttle, but only on new tyres, building up now to 195 miles an hour, an easy left-hand sweeper before you're looking at Blanchimont, 190 miles an hour, don't lift the throttle. A slight scrubbing of the speed as you build up lateral G-force. Now you're heading towards the bus stop, a 200 mile an hour lay-by approach, then just 55 miles an hour over the curb in second gear. Control the wheel spin. Does he lift the throttle on the exit? Not at all. Into a new lap, a wonderful experience.
And Mika Hakkinen quickest in morning warm-up as well. David Coulthard needing a big result here. Frentzen from nearby Mönchengladbach could be one to watch, and there's been a Schumacher on the podium for the last 7 years. No Michael again today, and more on his comeback shortly. Ferrari complaining of lack of speed in qualifying. They've got a winning tradition in Belgium. McLaren poised to knock them off of the constructors, and there are 5 races to go, remember. Now, at one stage, reports suggested that Michael Schumacher would be back here for the first time since breaking his leg at Silverstone in July, but the Spa master is missing. And now there's confusion. Will he be back at Monza in a couple of weeks or not? Let's get the latest situation from James Allen.
Ferrari's struggle for speed here at Spa highlights just how much they miss Michael Schumacher. Many thought Schuy might be back this weekend following his comeback test at Mugello, Italy last Friday. Just 6 weeks after breaking his right leg at Silverstone, the doctors cleared the German to drive, and he did 65 laps, a total of 340 kilometres in the day. Amazingly, his first flying lap of the day was faster than Eddie Irvine's best to that point. Clearly, he's lost none of his edge. The Irishman got his own back, however, stealing Schumacher's crutches while he was out on the track, and he had to make his own way out of the garage. After the test, Schumacher said he felt fine, but following a 40-kilometre cycle ride on Monday, a pain in his leg persuaded him not to compete at Spa.
He's missing it desperately, so he's very keen to get back in and race alongside his competitors, and he's literally gagging to get back.
Schumacher will test at Monza next week for 3 days, and if he's happy, he'll make his comeback at the Italian Grand Prix. Of course, the burden of proof of fitness for racing is much higher than it is for testing, and the FIA have a number of tests they want to see a driver able to do before they'll let him race. Now, the only compulsory one is being able to get out of the car and replace the steering wheel in less than 5 seconds. I'm too big to fit in the Ferrari, so this is Gianni Pettolini, Michael Schumacher's #1 mechanic, and he's going to demonstrate it for us. You ready, Gianni? Steady, go! 7 seconds, and that's with 2 good legs.
Now, there are certain other tasks that the FIA's Chief Medical Officer, Sid Watkins, can ask a driver to perform. In the case of Ricardo Zonta, who broke his leg earlier this year, he asked him to jump down from a metre-high box like this. He then asked him to bounce 5 times on his bad leg. 3, 4, 5. Can you imagine doing that on a leg you broke just 50 days ago?
The $10 million question is, when he comes back, will he be driving to help Eddie Irvine or to help himself?
It's difficult to say what's going to happen exactly, except Michael will do what the team want him to do, and the team want to win the championship, and if Eddie Irvine's our best hope of winning the championship, Michael will support that totally.
James Allen reporting. He does a good silly walk as well. Now then, Tony, what about Michael Schumacher? Is he coming back or isn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he's coming back. He had a standing ovation, by the way, when he arrived at Mugello from all the mechanics. He's got a very, very heavy limp. That's why it's critical to have another check before he decides whether to go back to Monza. When he comes back, the other question is Luca de Montezemolo, the Ferrari president, has said that he'll do what Ferrari say. And clearly, if Irvine scores points here, he should be outside of the championship. So he'll have to work for Ferrari. That means try and gain the Constructors' Championship and help Irvine with the World Drivers' Championship. That remains to be seen in the heat of battle whether Schumacher will do that, but he is very, very keen to get back.
They have really been missing him here, perhaps for the first time.
Yeah, I found it quite strange because the press, after 2 wins on the trot, were going, oh, well, who needs Schumacher? And then just 1 third place, they missed the top in Hungary with Irvine. And it's, oh, you know, they must get Schumacher back. But I think in terms of the pace of development at Ferrari, they need Schumacher to push them on. They're definitely suffering on the high-speed circuits.
I'm not sure he's coming back this season, you know.
He will be back before Christmas.
You never know. You never know. All right. Let's move on to the feature that really has captured your imagination this season. Martin Brundle's F1 driving school. Martin hopping inside the Jordan at Silverstone and revealing what it takes to drive at this level. Now, if you can't cope with the G-forces, particularly at tracks like this one in Spa, the game's a pain in the neck.
Now, one of the most difficult things to demonstrate to you is the level of energy that's going on inside a Formula One car. It all tends to look very calm and collected from the outside until something goes wrong. It's called G-force. Now, I don't always carry furry dice in my car, you'll be pleased to know. We put them in to demonstrate what G-force is. It's the force that will make these dice go over to the left as I take this right-hand corner. And if I brake heavily, they'll go forwards. It's the same force that'll slide your granny from one side of the car to another if you go into a roundabout a little bit too quickly. Here's a good example, Eau Rouge at Spa. A big left-right in the bottom of the hill, about 170 miles an hour, then leap off the curb on the way out. Massive energy going on there. Here we are in my road-going Ferrari, which is probably the fastest car on the road. But even in ideal conditions, this car will generate something around 1 G of lateral force going through a corner, and a Formula One car is 4 times that because of the downforce created and the very wide slick racing tyres.
As I hit the bump on the straight, it evacuates my lungs. I can barely breathe over that bump. Left-hand corner, my neck immediately tightens to try to hold my head in the position I want so I can balance the car on the throttle.
What does that mean in reality? 4 times the force of gravity. Your head weighs 5 kilos, for example. Maybe a Grand Prix driver's head's a little bit bigger. A crash helmet is 1.5 kilos, so 6.5 kilos times 4, 26 kilos. Imagine somebody putting a 26 kilo weight on the side of your head instantaneously.
As I break down, your head wants to go forward, your neck is fighting the weight of your head.
Now, under braking, longitudinal G, something around 3.5 to 4 G again in a Formula One car. If you watch, I'm braking heavily now, watch the dice go forward. I've had it on a coolish day where you get little drops of water in the corner of your eye, you brake so heavily with such violence in a Formula One car that the drops of water can actually come out of the corner of your eye and splat on the back of your visor. That's some pretty serious stopping power.
Here's Barrichello and Coulthard experiencing the same braking energy forces at the same time, whilst concentrating hard not to run into each other.
Worse than that, your internal organs are also subjected to the same forces as our furry dice here. And they're moving around inside you too, and rattling around on your, against your rib cage, and that just soaks up your energy.
Here's a good example of those energy levels here at Silverstone in just 2 corners. Heavy braking into Abbey Chicane around 3.6 G, leaping across the curbs, a lot of accelerative forces into Bridge Corner, don't lift the throttle, 4 lateral G. Let us try and put this into perspective, using the Ferrari as a reference point. Jim Vale, the team manager's driving that, 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, a top speed of 200 miles an hour. I'm going to accelerate the Jordan up to 100 miles an hour and brake down to 0 long before the Ferrari makes it to 100. Let's look at that one more time. Both cars spinning their wheels off the line. The Formula One car digs in, up to 100 miles an hour, hit the brake pedal now, under 8 seconds, brutal.
Well, we couldn't find anywhere to hang the furry dice in this, but I hope now you've got a much better understanding of the forces at work in a driver's office.
Martin's Grid Walk is next. Also coming up, British American Racing's battle to take part in their very first Belgian Grand Prix. Well, the weather in the Ardennes is a notoriously fickle beast. No problems so far, but you never know round here. With us at Spa, under 15 minutes to go to the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. Now, British American Racing have struggled to get their cars home throughout the season, and now they've had a huge job getting ready for the off. More on the background to that from senior race engineer Jock Clear.
Jock, tell me, what time did the cars actually get here last night?
The truck arrived about 11 o'clock at night, so the boys were waiting around preparing what they could at gearboxes, that sort of thing, but the actual chassis from the test didn't arrive till 11. So it wasn't a case of wheeling the test cars out and parking them here for this morning. They're completely different spec. They needed engine change, gearbox change and suspension change all round, so a lot of work.
So how long did all of that take?
Well, most of the guys that worked on the 2 new cars got away about 5 o'clock, 5:30 this morning, but obviously they're back here at 6:30, 7, so really just back to the hotel for a shower and a change of clothes and back here again. So some very tired guys at the moment, and you know, obviously we didn't work them too hard in warm-up, but you know, they're going to get some rest now. We've had a reasonably calm warm-up, so no major problems for the race at the moment. So hopefully we can have a little bit of a relax now after such a hectic 24 hours.
Indeed, it has been. Let's go to Martin Brundle. Bit of apprehension from the drivers, Martin, after what's happened to the BARs?
Well, they're pretty scary around here, pretty scared, I think, most drivers around here. Jim, you're right, there's a lot of apprehension because of the start here. It's pretty famous too. This is an unusual opportunity. We can do a grid walk and look at the first corner all at the same time. Down there is just before that 100-metre board is where they're going to be braking for the first corner, but swing around, Keith, and just show them how close the cars actually are to this first corner. So, and remember, the reason they have a problem is they light the rear tyres up off the start line, so you've got warm rear tyres, virtually stone-cold front tyres, because the guys will be sitting on the front of the grid here some 45 seconds, and totally cold brakes. They don't work till they've got 700 degrees in them, and they'll have 200 or 300 degrees, so you hurtle in there, and you can't slow down. You've got no grip from the front tyre, no braking temperature. Now, it's pretty tense in the World Championship. This could be quite a crucial race. I want to have a quick word with Mika Häkkinen if he'll talk to us. Mika, you've been on pole for, I think it's 19 of the last 28 Grand Prix. You're getting pretty good now, yeah?
I think it was 20 times, but anyway. Yeah, I had plenty of practice, and certainly the record looks good. It's going in the right direction. I'm feeling more and more confident all the time with the car, with the team, so I'm happy.
Yeah, well, I counted 19, but I did it twice, but I count in English anyway. But so how's it? A pretty crucial race, don't you think?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, and that's why obviously I have to admit I'm not fully relaxed, and I suppose you understand why. And I was just looking at this starting straight, and it's quite short.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I mean, what do you're on the right-hand side of the grid. Do you think that's the right side for pole position?
I'll tell you soon.
Yeah, well, we're watching with great interest. But anyway, good luck. Your World Championship contenders behind you, 6th on the grid. I mean, you're not too worried about him today, huh?
No, I'm not.
OK, well, it's clear. Thank you for talking to us, Mika. Have a great race. Let's see if we can find somebody else here from McLaren. I'm not sure we've got enough time to get down to the Ferrari camp. Let's have a word with Ron Dennis here, see if he can... let's see if Ronaldo... I don't... Ron, can I interrupt? Thank you. Sorry about that. Just a quick word, Ron. I mean, Mick has got a good chance of taking the championship lead here this afternoon. McLaren had a good time in Hungary. Are you relaxed? Mick said he's a bit nervous because it's such a short straight to the first corner. How are you about it all?
Well, there's an advantage to this circuit is that most people are pretty cautious about overtaking on the run up to the first hairpin here. So, yeah, you're nervous because it can get a bit crowded and there can be an incident. On the other hand, unless you make a really bad start, you're unlikely to lose positions. So if we can get first and second clean first lap, then obviously we're in good shape.
Now, the Ferrari's been really quick in the races recently and surprised you a bit, I think. Are you keeping a wary eye on them today? Because they're a bit far back.
Didn't seem too quick at the last race. Hopefully that will continue. We never fear competition, but we're here to win, and clearly we've got to watch everybody, but I think the Jordans are going to be very strong.
OK, well, we've got an anxious Mika Hakkinen, but a very confident Ron Dennis. Back to you, Jim.
Well done down there, Martin. I mean, there's a lot of tension around down there, isn't it, Tony? A bit unusual, perhaps remembering last year, eh?
Well, they're not saying, he said, I don't fear the competition, we don't fear the competition so much, but it's the aura of this place, it's the atmosphere. They know that this is a horrendous place to conquer. Look at what happened last year. I mean, just behind your head there, you can see some dark clouds rolling. Anything can happen here. But also Ferrari, from where they can, at least it's a circuit at where you can overtake, so they've still got a chance.
OK, let's check on the strategy with James Allen, shall we? I would think getting round that first corner has got to be a priority for everybody.
Two things that most affect the race strategy: tyre degradation and the weight of fuel. And here at Spa, both are very, very high. A heavy car is a slow car here. For that reason, I don't think we'll see very many one-stoppers. Most people will stop twice today. At the front, McLaren, Jordan, I think we'll see them run quite long in the first stint, lap 17 or lap 20 before they make their first stop. But really, it's Ferrari who've got to do something very clever. Otherwise, they'll lose the lead of both championships today. Only strategy can win them this race, and we'll see them possibly with a light car at the start. Irvine may be trying to make up some places in the early laps, because one thing is for sure: if he isn't in the mix by the time the first pit stops are over, then he's finished.
Well, as things stand, Ferrari could really miss Michael Schumacher, Irvine and Salo. They've been blown away by the McLarens. The Jordans, Hill and Frentzen, poised for another triumph, are they? And what is going to happen at the start this time round? Stand by for the Belgian Grand Prix.